Hello everyone and welcome to Magic Gathering Strat. I'm Binky and this will be the 6th lesson for Limited. And we're going to talk about Quadrant Theory. So, what is the Quadrant Theory really? Well, it's a way to evaluate a card and decide if that's a card you want or not. So we have talked about the value of a card previous, and we talked about the Quadrant Theory a bit, but I wanted to go in depth because it's a pretty good way, at least I believe so, to view cards and see when a card is good and why a card potentially is good. So I've selected a few cards here from M15, and first of all I'm going to go through the quadrants once more. The first quadrant is the development stage of the game. When the game is developing, that's basically your starting hand. If you see that card in that hand, it should be really good. If it is, then it's a good card in the development quadrant. Then you have the quadrant where you're winning. You have a better board position and you're bashing your opponent. When is a card good here, for example? And then you have the quadrant where you're losing. What cards are good here? And the quadrant when the board is stalled. Nothing is happening, no one is playing anything relevant, and you basically are just top decking cards. What card is good at that point? So personally I like a card that is either extreme in one quadrant, like a solid 10 in one of the quadrants and poor in the others, or they should be as high as possible in as many quadrants as possible. So let's go through the cards here and see what I mean. We're gonna start with Elvish Mystic. So how good is it in my opening hand? Well, it's the best card imaginable, basically. So it's somewhere around a 9 or a 10, I would say. When you're winning, it's pretty poor. I mean, it's 1 power, it's not doing that much, so it's not very good then. When you're losing, it's almost as bad as a land. It might gain you a few lives. That's basically it. Very poor there. And when the board is stalled, it's still extremely poor. So it's like a 10 and a 2 and a 1 and a 1. So in total it's a decent card, but it's only good in the beginning of the game. We can compare that to a card like Love Axe, for example. How good is that in your opening hand? Well, it's a pretty poor card, you don't want it. When you're winning, well, it's basically the best. Nothing can do more damage at a faster pace than Love Axe. When you're losing, well, it's a completely dead card, unless your opponent is at 5 life, but that's probably not happening. When the board is stalled, well, it might be the difference where you can Alpha Strike and then Love Axe them out, so it's at least decent there. So it's poor, it's fantastic, it's poor, and it's decent. Now then you might think, well, then they're pretty similar, they would land at the exact points or something. If you're putting a value on it in points, they should be around the same, and that's true. But this is at its best in the quadrant that is least relevant, and that's when you're winning, because almost every card is good when you're winning. There's a few that's not. I mean, let's say this and a Curse Spirit are almost as good when you're winning, but the Curse Spirit has more uses than that. So that's why Love Axe is not really the card you're looking for. It could be in the specific deck, but all around it's not that great. So let's take a card like Wall of Fire. It's an 0-5 defender for 3 that can fire breathe for some reason. Is this a good card in your opening hand? Well, if you have a slow deck and want to stall the board, then it's a pretty good card. I'd say it's at its best at turn 3, because it will gain you the most life effectively. Is this card good when you're winning? No, it's a 0. It's a complete waste. When you're losing, it's probably not a good card unless like they have a 4/4 and something, and this can cut your clock in half or something, then it's, I guess, okay. And when the board is stalled, it's completely wasted. It's just not good. So then I would like to compare like this to Elvish Mystic. Well, they're both good when the game is developing, but this is never gonna be anything else than an 05. This has more uses. That's why I would always pick Elvish Mystic over Wall of Fire, unless there is a really specific case, or if I'm not green, obviously. Let's compare the Wall of Fire to the Hornet's Nest. I mean, it's defenders, it costs the same amount. Why would I pick Hornet's Nest over Wall of Fire? Well, it's because this does so much more. Yes, it will probably die whenever it blocks, but then you get 1/1 death touch tokens with flying. That's pretty good. Well, while this is pretty free to attack into, this is not the case with Hornet's Nest. Let's say they have 2 3/3s and you play Wall of Fire, you still take 3 damage. If they have 2 3/3s and you play Hornet's Nest, they will never attack again. So it's pretty good when the board is setting up. It's not good when you're winning. It's probably not that good when you're losing, it could be. And it's not good when the ball is stalled. It's kind of similar to Wall of Fire, but probably higher numbers. So that's why Hornet's Nest is a better card than Wall of Fire most of the time. Before we take those cards, I want to talk about Meditation Puzzle. So let me get this straight. Pure lifelink, or pure life gain, I mean, is bad. It's genuinely bad. Oh well, I saw someone win with a meditation puzzle when the opponent swinged for lethal and could crack back for the exact Cs or something. Yeah, well, they do that sometimes, but most of the time they're not. So let's see, is this good when you're setting up the board? No, it has no impact at all. Is this good when you're winning? No, it's not. Is this good when the board is stalled? No, it's not contributing anything. And the last quadrant, is it good when you're losing? That's kind of what we would expect. So let's say their opponent has a pretty good attack and you can't block. Or maybe you have like a Wall of Fire that can block or something. You draw this and it's like, yes, alright, I'm at 10 and I can gain 8 life. So they swing for like 6 and you're like, ha, I gain 8. Then they play another creature and pass the turn. Now you're at the exact same scenario, but they have another creature on the board. Yes, maybe you have a few more life points than you would have otherwise, but the situation is just getting worse. The only time Meditation Puzzle is good is when you're racing. Let's say you have an Accursed Spirit and they have something that flies, and you're just bashing away, and then when they're attacking for the final amount, you gain 8, gain effectively like 2 turns, and can win with your evasive creature. That's the only time a lifelink spell would be good, but so would a removal spell, another creature probably. So pure life gain spells are bad. Life gain, however, is fantastic if you can get it. Like, let's say, where are you? You are somewhere. I like the guy. There, Rotfest the Maggot. You get a solid body and a bunch of life. That's how you want to gain life. You're affecting the board and getting life. This card is like 2 light years better than Meditation Puzzle. Okay, Borderland Marauder. Applying the Quadrant Theory again. Good when the board is setting up, really good. Pretty good when we're ahead and winning. Pretty bad when we're losing. And pretty bad when the board is stalled. So, similar to Elvish Mystic, it's good in the beginning of the game, but it's a lot better when we are winning compared to this. So I'd say at least in in15 Borderland Marauder is a much higher pick than Elvish Mystic, just because of that. Accursed Spirit, pretty good when the board is setting up, curving out into a 3/2 evasive creature. Pretty good when you're winning. Half decent when you're losing. It depends, I mean, it depends on the scenario, but probably not that great. And pretty good when the board is stalled, because it can probably attack through their defenses. So it has pretty high numbers in 3 of the 4 quadrants, which is fairly good, which makes it a pretty high pick. Of all here, so far it's between those two. If this was a pack, for sure. Depends on what color is good in the set and so forth too, but I'd say those cards are pretty similar in power level. And then we have the crown jewel, the Mother Cone of Flame. So this card is probably the best thing you can have when you're setting up the board, not because you're getting something, but because you're killing at least 2 of their creatures, probably 3, and you just win the game. When you're ahead, you get to kill their final blocker or blockers and deal a point of damage to them and swing. Pretty good. You're losing. How about kill their Accursed Spirit, Borderland Marauder and their Elvish Mystic just for funsies? Pretty good, I'd say. The board is stalled. Same thing. Kill off their pesky blocker and swing with your flyers or whatever. All around, this is like 8 to 10 in all quadrants. It's a fantastic card in All-Star and a slam first pick. I'd take this over all of those cards if I could. So you don't have to apply the Quadrant Theory to see that this card is great, but as we can see going through all of those cards, they have their strengths, but some of them are only good in scenarios where you don't really need a card to be good, and some of them are just not that good at all. So I have one more card for you to discuss before we end this. The dreaded Ornithopter. Okay, I'm not really sure where to begin on Ornithopter. Before applying the Quadrant Theory, I've heard, and obviously myself, have thought, well, it's a free card. It costs 0 mana, it's just free. If I add it in my deck, it's just a free spell. That has to be good, right? Well, it's just an O2, but I mean, I can maybe put an aura on it, and that's good. No, let me get this straight. Just because it's free to cast, it's not free to include it in your deck. It's taking the slot of something else. I would much rather play a Love Axe over an Ornithopter. No problem, I'd play Wall of Fire over Ornithopter. Unless my deck is heavy built around artifacts. Then I might force it into my deck somehow, against my will. But it has 0 power, so it will never be anything else but a chump blocker. Unless you have a very good reason to add it in the deck. You have like 4 Illusionary Angels or 8 Shrapnel Blasts. Then I would stay away from Ornithopter, just by my logics. Let's apply the Quadrant Theory. How good is this when the board is setting up? Well, its impact is basically a bad healing soul, so that's very bad. When you're winning, it's a 0. When you're losing, it's 0.5, and when the board is stalled, it's a 0. You can't get a much worse card than this. There is like, where is it? Invisibility. That's a very bad card, but I'd rather play that over Ornithopter in a random deck. This at least has some uses. It could make one of your creatures be able to attack, but this will never attack. It's an O2. So I don't need a Quadrant Theory to see that this card is bad. It's just to look at it. Oh well, but you have those Scrapyard Mongrels and stuff. Yeah, I know. You have the Scrapyard Mongrels and the flying guy, 2/3, that gains flying. But that's not enough. I would never add a really bad card to make my mediocre to good cards be a bit better. That's just not sane. For those who watched, I played a Modern Masters draft and I picked an Edivile. That's usually a pretty bad card in Limited because it doesn't do anything. But I had quite a few synergies, and even though I really didn't want it, I didn't give up much to take it and played it, and I was reasonably happy. But that's when it was at its real finest, at its best. This card, I'd stay away from it, let's just say that. So that's the Quadrant Theory. It helps you determine when a card is good and if it's a card you want. If you're an aggressive deck and looking for something, then you're probably looking for something that is good early. or something that is good when you're winning, because that's where you want to be. If you're defensive, maybe you're looking for something that stops their attacks. It might sound very obvious when I'm saying it, but I mean, getting over the fact that Elvish Mystic actually is a pretty bad card unless you have it on turn 1, that for me was pretty harsh. I mean, I'd play all Elvish Mystic I'd get in my decks, but then when I started thinking about it, well, what am I getting from it? Do I have the luxury of having a card that is dead when the board is stalled? If the case is yes, then for all means play it, but otherwise maybe you should pick a Hornet's Nest, who knows. For now, this will be the last lesson. I might make a few more, and I might make a few for Constructed, but this was the first round with non-gameplay videos. I hope you have enjoyed them all. Please leave a comment and tell me what you thought. What did I miss? What am I completely wrong about, if any? Hopefully not. What do you agree with? Do you have any questions or anything? Just put it in the comments and I'll try to answer them as soon as I read them. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great time.